The No Money But Dreams podcast is for those millennial dreamers
who try to be in the top 1%.
It doesn't matter what we've achieved.
We wake up every morning with the mindset that we're still broke,
We welcome you on our journey in search of that home run.
which can change everything.
Everything?
Everything. Welcome to another episode of No Money But Dreams. Today we're going to talk about the Metaverse. The Metaverse has been in the news everywhere, and today Alex has gone down a massive rabbit hole.
And this will not be the only time I go down this rabbit hole because I am super excited about this space.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure out different kind of angles of how this will all work out.
Yeah.
And as we were researching, we thought on the main show we should let everyone know what we are seeing currently, and this will be updated. But yeah, really excited about this episode. So stick with us and go on a ride to understand a little bit more what the Metaverse or the Metaverses are like.
And what kind of opportunities are going to present themselves in this new world which is being created.
So what is it?
Right. So what is the Metaverse? No, I'm joking, I know. So the Metaverse is basically the next iteration of what the internet is going to look like. All right. In general, the internet now is very much a 2D experience. So you're on your phone, you're on your computer screen. But the next stage is actually going to be a more 3D immersive experience.
So we're all going to run around with Oculus glasses?
Well, there's two sides of the coin to this. So there's two elements when we're looking at the Metaverse. There's the augmented reality side and the virtual reality side. What you alluded to, wearing the glasses, and actually, guys, they're haptic suits. I watched somebody give a TED talk yesterday in a haptic suit, which actually mimics anything that you would feel. So any touch, wind, rain, anything like that, you could actually feel wearing this suit. That is virtual reality. So that's fully immersed in another world, okay? Augmented reality is a world which is on an overlay, so a digital overlay on the physical world which you're seeing. So that's maybe something like glasses, which show certain information. So let's say I walk into a restaurant, the glasses come up and show me the menu.
So that's what what Apple is working on, trying to bring out new glasses, correct?
Exactly. That's exactly what Apple has been discussing and speaking, which would make logical sense as the next extension of the iPhone, right? All the information that you need right now, whatever you're doing in the world, is on your iPhone, correct? You're in Italy. You want to go to a restaurant. You Google the restaurant. When you get to the restaurant, you've already seen the menu. You've already seen everything. So imagine how is that information going to translate if it was on an overlay kind of on your vision, on your glasses, which with time could end up being contact lenses, for example.
So it needs to be a lot different to what the Facebook Oculus experience looks like at the moment. We need something that isn't as invasive, that we can actually wear and still go about our day.
So I think, yes, that there's going to be two sides. There's going to be a less evasive one, which I think mainstream people will gain quickly. So if I gave you really cool glasses by Ray-Bans that made you look super cool, and all the influencers were wearing them, and you ended up wearing them, and it actually gave you tangible value on a daily basis, as you're analyzing things or interacting in your world, yes, people would easily jump onto that. This notion of wearing full goggles and spending half your day in a fully immersive world is a bit more difficult for people to grasp, yes, but I'm 100% certain in 10 years, we'll all be laughing because that's how we're going to conduct 50% of our day. Just how you spend 50% of your day in your phone. 10 years ago, if I told you you were going to spend how many hours you spend staring at your phone screen, doing all the things you do with your phone, you would have laughed at me. Yeah. And I think that this is the same opportunity here.
So how is Web 3 different to Web 1 and Web 2 then?
Great. So like Web 3 is this massive buzzword. We all hear it, and it's directly connected to what the Metaverse is going to be. So the Metaverse is a part of Web 3. So Web 1 was dial-up internet, basic messaging, connection between humans. ICQ, if you remember it, email, etc.
So how we grew up.
Exactly, where and how we grew up. Then Web 2 was very much social media, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. And you've noticed on Web 2 how the content has shifted from text and imagery to videos. Why? Videos are more immersive. You get to understand what is going on in a situation through a video, maybe 25x, 100x more than just a picture. You know what I mean? So the next iteration...
Kind of like why we decided to also have this recorded and on YouTube and not just as a podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people, when they watch something, are more immersive. They feel like they're there. But in Web 3, you're looking at taking immersion to a completely different level. Again, we're coming back to this idea of if you were completely submerged with the goggles and everything. But the main point here is that in Web 3, users will be allowed to own, trade, and monetize digital assets. So what's the problem now? You have a digital footprint on Facebook, Snapchat, right? You don't own that information. You actually don't own anything. It's the property of a centralized company, i.e. Facebook, i.e. Snapchat. Web3 is decentralized, meaning that there is no gatekeeper.
Well,
yeah.
Some of them is.
Exactly. No, the concept is it should be decentralized. And this is the argument of Facebook coming into the space, right? Because obviously everybody knows Facebook controls everything that happens in its ecosystem.
So when their metaverse comes out, it won't be fully decentralized. But when you're talking about Decentraland or Sandbox, they are decentralized.
Exactly. And in these decentralized worlds, blockchain technology, which is the underlying technology for crypto, and the reason why NFTs are what they are, which is a one-of-one, you can prove ownership, is what is going to allow you to spend time creating things in this world. Because I can prove I own it. I can monetize it. Up until now, you can't really prove that you own something and you can't monetize it digitally. Because the argument is you can copy and paste any picture, for example. Right? So this is going to bring a huge number of opportunities of how we can interact digitally like we do in the physical world, with property, with assets, and all this kind of stuff.
I mean, there's already virtual land brokers out there and all sorts of crazy jobs.
Exactly. So now in Sandbox and Decentraland, which are the two main worlds which you brought up, you can own land. But you wouldn't be able to own land without blockchain, because how are you going to prove that you own it? You got what I mean? So with that land, you can own it, rent it, monetize it. There's an unlimited value that can be created in these worlds now that you can prove ownership, essentially. So how is it all going to play out? We don't really know. There is no right answer. But that's why it's so exciting, because nobody really knows what's going to happen. Therefore, as somebody on the sidelines now, you could actually jump into this space, read, research, and become a expert or know really, really well what's going on in a really short period of time.
So let's discuss some of the examples where brands or people are jumping in at the beginning. Like we have discussed on the podcast before, Nike and Adidas, how they have gone in. What are some of the other brands that have taken the plunge already?
Well, Samsung is building a store in Decentraland, and that actually pushed the price up of land in Decentraland on the open market. And even companies as boring, I didn't want to say that word. Even companies as exciting as PwC have bought land in the Metaverse. And they actually bought in Sandbox. What exactly they're going to do, we're not sure. But the fact that these massive companies see the value and are wanting to get involved definitely means that we should be looking at it. Now, where I see the metaverse is I really do see this as the future of digital business. Yeah. So my theory is that the physical world and the digital world for business is going to very much be interchangeable.
So wait, you triggered me. So now any kind of company has got an online store, H&M, whatever. They've got a website where you can order from.
Yes.
Right? they need to somehow, if the attention is going to the metaverse,
Yep.
they need to be able to keep up with this, because the website is not going to do anything anymore.
Exactly.
So how can they replicate this now in the metaverse?
So they would build they would buy a piece of land,
Yeah.
presumably in the nice part of the metaverse, as ridiculous as this sounds, but this is how it plays out like physical world, right?
Yeah.
So a nice piece of land, and they would build an experience on this piece of land, which would essentially be their virtual store.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a player in this metaverse, you would be able to walk in the store and you'd be able to buy digital assets. You'd be able to buy digital clothes, for example.
Digital or also normal clothes.
Exactly. So where we say that my theory of the overlap comes into play is if you walk into the H&M store in Sandbox and you buy this red sweater for your avatar, you get to put it on straight away when you pay for it. Keep in mind you're paying in cryptocurrency at this time. There is an actual exchange of value. And then that red sweater gets posted to you the next day. So you have it in the physical world as well. And I think that that's going to work vice versa as well. You're going to walk into H&M in the physical world. You will buy a red sweater. It will come with a QR code, which allows you to scan it. And then in Sandbox or in Decentraland, you have that red sweater as well for your avatar.
Or car or house or whatever.
Absolutely everything is going to be interchangeable.
Yeah.
And obviously being in the restaurant industry, I've had my thoughts about it, but what would stop me being in Abu Dhabi, you being in Zurich, for example? We both enter the metaverse. We both go to Burger 28 and we sit down. Keep in mind, we're in our VR goggles. At this, you're in your house, I'm in my house. And we have an interaction with the waitress. We order food. And when you order food in the metaverse, it actually triggers to a cloud kitchen owned by Reef or Kitopi or any of these big, massive cloud kitchen companies which are emerging. And that food gets delivered roughly at the same time to you and me. And we actually sit and have a meal in the metaverse.
Yeah,
physically eating. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to say that that can't happen. You know what I mean? What else?
You did a video this week when you were looking for kitchen equipment.
Yes.
About another aspect. Bring this one up.
So that is basically, we have a kitchen supplier and he bought a Matterport camera. Now this Matterport camera scans a room 360 degrees, up, down, floor, everywhere. And you can actually walk around in this scan. But
you walk around how? You have to have goggles or with your phone or how?
You can do on your phone, on your laptop, or with goggles.
It's like when you're going to a virtual viewing of a house?
Exactly. So Matterport became extremely famous during COVID because people couldn't go and see the houses they wanted to buy. So they would go into this experience on Matterport and they would walk around and see what they wanted to see and then decide whether they wanted to purchase the house or not. It's crazy.
Crazy.
So in this instance, you're able to go onto their website, walk around their kitchen warehouse and choose what you want to buy. And the next step is that you'll actually be able to click on the item that you see, go to basket, buy it. Without ever having to go into this warehouse in Sharjah. You could do it from anywhere.
So I can avoid going to IKEA and just take a stroll through this Matterport of IKEA?
So another opportunity, for example, like for IKEA, you would be able to walk through a whole IKEA store virtually, choose a piece of furniture or anything. This is like next stage, yeah? We're tying everything in together. You would be able to overlay that image on your augmented reality glasses in your house and see what it looks like. And if you're happy with it, you buy it, it gets shipped to you the next day without ever leaving your home.
The question is, how is IKEA in the metaverse going to make you walk through that whole store? Because that's what they do in the real life.
I know.
If we can cut that one out, I'm much more happy with IKEA.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. But these are kind of the opportunities. I mean, if you're not a massive business, there's going to be opportunities, for example, to advertise, project placements, billboards. As a designer or a creator, you would be able to create outfits, homes, cars, co-working spaces. Like the way we meet we might have board meetings in virtual reality. Why do we have to be with each other all the time? See, you're laughing. I'm going to be laughing in 10 years when I created the software, or Zoom is the first company who sees this opportunity and takes advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, the amount of time you spend virtual now, but in a shitty experience, not immersive, is a lot, man.
That's true, man. We spend a lot of time in front of the computer, and it's very 2D, and it's not very enjoyable
at all.
Yeah.
And how moving forward are we going to integrate into businesses if you only meet the people who you work with in a 2D experience? Like, it's not enough.
Yeah, what I struggle, why I laughed is, these the Zoom calls or whatever, in a 3D environment with an avatar. I struggle to see how that's going to happen. Like, I don't want to see you as an avatar.
The funny thing
like
is
that about Zoom, that you can see someone else's face.
Yeah.
Right? And if someone doesn't turn on their camera, it takes away a lot from the experience. And if this is now being replaced by an avatar, I need
but
to
it's
really
not
get
it's
used
not
to it.
it's not to say that the avatar doesn't look like you.
Still, it's an avatar.
But what's funny, which I thought about, is more and more everybody's digital presence is not actually what they look like. How many times have you seen somebody on social media and then in real life they look nothing like what they actually look like?
Yeah.
So this is just going to be exacerbated that I want to look like a red dragon. That's who I am. I am a red dragon.
Yeah, you can have
in this world.
You can have multiple personalities.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can have multiple personalities, but the fact that like everybody laughs like, oh, an avatar, nobody would want to look like an avatar. Everybody's an avatar on Instagram. Majority of people with all their perfect shot and perfectly face-tuned face and this and that. They don't look anything like it in real life. What's the difference between that and a blue dragon?
So, yeah, true. So what other potential is there? What other things will be unlocked through the metaverse?
Look, for me, what I think is the massive and biggest point that you need to keep in mind about this is that there's 2 billion people on this planet who don't have access to a banking system.
Yep.
And blockchain allows people to become financially active and productive without a central authority being a gatekeeper.
So
all they need is the internet.
Yeah, instead of a bank saying, no, you don't have to write documents to open an account, everyone can download a MetaMask and
exactly
have an account. Yeah.
And how exciting is that? People can have access, transfer funds in a permissionless manner. And this is going to allow people from all over the world to tap into an economy which doesn't exist. We spoke in how many years, globalization and this and that, but we haven't really globalized anything. The same people who have access to certain things are the only people allowed to partake in our global economy. This is going to change in a massive way. So people are going to be able to be creative and independent, and they're going to have virtual jobs, which they already have, like Axie Infinity.
Yeah, playing games.
Yeah, there's actually people in the Philippines and Venezuela who make more money playing a computer game, a play-to-earn game, on a daily basis than they do having to leave their country, leave their family, move somewhere else to work like another job.
Yeah.
And that really blew my mind. So
we have. I want to finish by talking about a couple of the companies that are kind of leading in this space at the moment. We already said that Decentraland and Sandbox are kind of like the leading metaverses.
Yeah.
I think when Facebook is going to bring theirs out, I mean, they've announced it, they've changed their name. Once they bring it out and they've got 3 billion users using their products,
that's the whole point. Yeah.
There will be some disruption, and that will be really interesting to see how they bring it out. Okay, these are the main kind of players.
So how can we get exposure?
Yeah, how can we get exposure, and who is like Matterport is really really interesting company, and you brought this up through your research that taking the real world into the metaverse.
Yeah, mapping it, and that's gonna be the point where we have the overlap, right? Like, it's very difficult to imagine walking around a virtual kitchen shop. But now I've mapped the physical shop and you've walked around it. Like they're gonna start to merge. And I think they're really poised to be a massive, massive opportunity. And
Yeah.
you can buy their stock on the stock exchange today, and it's actually at almost an all-time low.
Yeah. That's a really interesting opportunity. What else? Who else is there?
Okay, so coming back to Sandbox and Decentraland, in these worlds, you can buy land. So you can go to OpenSea.com, you can buy plots of land. Obviously, you need to know where you're buying these plots of land. So that's a whole nother discussion. You can buy the token. So if we're looking at these lands, they have their own currency.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandbox has sand, Decentraland has mana. If you believe in Sandbox and you believe in Decentraland, presumably as these economies mature, there's going to be an increased demand for their currency or their token. So you could actually buy that token, and you could buy $1 or $100,000 of that token today on any of the exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really low entry point that you can have. There's another company called Unity Software, which is definitely on my radar and I think has a lot of potential. They build games, they also build experiences and things like that. Apple has spoken about creating their glasses and creating their VR goggles. Mind you, the other day they mentioned that potentially they weren't entering the space. I can't remember. There was a piece of news. But at the end of the day, Apple is the mainstream gadget for anyone. If there's going to be an outsized opportunity to make money, you better be sure Apple is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they definitely have an opportunity to benefit. And then there's something like Keys, which we've both invested in. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit. And that's kind of like a non-traditional opportunity.
Yeah, Keys is basically a metaverse that has very beautiful houses.
Yeah, they build luxury houses in the metaverse.
Yeah. And imagine now in the real world, you can't really afford a luxury house that is 10, 15, $50 million, right? Or you can't be a neighbor of a specific person. And they digitally create a world that is just amazing and you want to be part of. And if you're then having these get-togethers, let's not talk about a Zoom meeting or work meeting, but let's say a leisure meeting. Yeah, you want to reconnect with your friends from London or from Africa or from wherever, and you're having them over, and you're saying, "Hey, come by my house."
Yeah, come.
Right, and that's where my house is. That's how you're gonna come. That's gonna be crazy. And we have seen some of the creations that they're working on and some of the partnerships that are coming out. It just looks unreal.
Yeah, that's called Keys Token, and that is. The beauty of this space is literally there is no limit to what you can build or what is going to happen with time.
Yeah.
And any sector where those are the two adjectives to describe it is something that you
it's just imagination, right? That's the limit.
But that's the beautiful thing, man. And then everybody having decentralized access, except for obviously Meta when they come in, but having opportunities to bring other people into this world and monetize and make money. I don't know. I think it's an amazing
very exciting. And I hope this gave you a little insight into what the metaverse could look like. And we're really excited about it. Check out our smaller episodes on sand.
And this space in general is something which we're going to be covering and we're going to be talking about a lot. So don't worry. You won't miss out.
Thanks for tuning in.
Take care, guys. Like and subscribe. Have a nice day.
Peace.